one and all, to the greatest puzzle talk show. I'm your host, Mike, with no creative intro for myself today, as it is far too early in the day for me. I didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night. Luckily, I'm not here to balance the whole show on my tired shoulders. I'd like to welcome the CEO, the very sharp-dressed man. It's Tone.
It's gonna be a big day today, so yeah, Tone is he is dressed. It's actually my official Raven Guild outfit.
That is what you wore for Raven Guild. I thought it looked familiar.
Yep, the Hugo Boss specifically designed Raven Guild shirt and tie.
I got a sweater. It's chilly outside, and I want it to be warm. It feels good. It's got fur on the inside.
Mike's staying home today.
I am.
Home being, trapdoor Poconos. Because he has to hold down the fort while it's his turn to hold it down while the rest of the team is out at one of our corporate clients today for an off-site team building event. So we're going to miss Mike today.
I'm going to totally miss you guys when the building catches on fire. Just joking. Knocking on wood for good luck. You see the look on his face? Hold on. We're going to... We got a great list of topics today. Some of them might be a little weird looking as far as the titles go, but I think you're gonna enjoy the conversation. If you want to join in on the conversation, make sure you comment in that comment section, and you'll get a reply out of us. But we're gonna go ahead and dive right on in to Archery Escape.
Oh God!
This one excites me because it's not just escape room and then an archery room. A fun night out with your friends, family, company, boyfriend, girlfriend has once again evolved into a new attraction coming to Dyersville, Iowa. Plum Creek Archery, known for their archery ranges and lessons, has opened an escape room that combines the fun of both archery and escape. Yeah, you need to know how to shoot an arrow in this escape room.
Alright, so most people are going to think that I'm going to poop all over this, but I actually really like this.
Yeah, because this is really what did it for me. Was I saw the title and I thought to myself, like, oh, this is like all those articles I see where it's like axe throwing escape room, but they forget to put the comma in between.
Yeah.
So you click on it and it's like, oh, there's an axe throwing place next to
Yeah.
But it's cool because I was reading about it, and you straight up have to use bow and arrows to solve a lot of the puzzles. The premise is you must escape Dr. Bullseye's lair. Dr. Bullseye's castle is full of rooms designed to hold you captive. You must shoot your way through various challenges. If you win one of Dr. Bullseye's challenges, you move on to a new room of the castle. And if you fail, you live there.
Forever. No, this is cool. This is very cool.
This is definitely something like, because I'm a big fan of the physically interactive escape rooms. I think I've said like a million times on here that F5 was my personal favorite escape room that we've done. So shout out to Plum Creek. If you happen to be in the Dyersville, Iowa area and you can check this out, make sure to tell us all about it. We'd love to hear more. That way I can convince the man over here to take a business trip.
Which, by the way, F5 is in contractual negotiations for revival.
Be still, my beating heart.
So,
F5's gonna come back.
Well, we always knew F5 was coming back, but it's probably coming back sooner than we thought.
Which is great news for me because I'm super excited to be able to play that game again, especially like the new and improved version of it, because I can't imagine we just bring it back as it was.
There will be changes, but it's not going to be to the extent that QRZ was changed.
I see. Like, not in a complete remodel like we did with QRZ.
Yeah, there was too many specific things in the original F5 that people absolutely fell in love with, and we can't pull those. In exchange for, like, putting new things in to replace them. So, certain things will have maybe a slight little spin on them, and we are adding a handful of puzzles to it. We're cutting back on the non-physical puzzles and replacing with some more physical stuff. And we are 100% changing the ending of the game.
Also, there's no more getting to, without spoiling the old game, well, I guess I could spoil it since it's not coming back. There's no more getting to the barn and then free falling through the floor and landing on the pad. We're going to go a complete different, ending.
Yes. I wasn't going to tell anyone about that yet, but yes.
Oh, well.
Mike has a knack for spoiling information that should never go public yet.
I'm the Tom Holland of Trapdoor Escape Room.
Frank used to do this all the time to us. He'd let, proprietary information out in conversations with, reviewers, with the press.
Yeah.
And Mike just does it public for all of YouTube.
And you know what's crazy is that this guy made me the director of streaming. And with that, I'm going to steamroll into the next topic and hopefully save my job here. Scooby Doo, where are you? Evidently, you're already in Orlando, Florida, and coming to a whole bunch of Escapology rooms across the nation. Escapology has signed a deal with Warner Brothers, and Scooby Doo's Haunted Mansion Mystery Escape is going to be alive at a location near you. Currently alive in
Orlando. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be in Orlando in like another week and a half or so.
So you're gonna play this game?
No, it's a family trip, and Liv's too little to play.
And Scooby Doo.
She's too little to play.
Wait, are you telling me she can't understand or process ciphers?
Yeah.
She's supposed to take over Trapdoor one day, Tone. What are you doing?
She's not even 3.
This one makes me really excited, though, because I was a huge fan of Scooby Doo growing up.
So was I.
I loved I used to have a collection of all the movies, the zombie one, the wrestling one, all the appearances that other celebrities made on the show.
Yeah, when I was a kid, the cartoon was actually on regularly, and every single morning before school, I would get up and get dressed and hang out in my parents' bedroom and watch the Jetsons and Scooby Doo while having a bowl of Count Chocula. That was literally Monday through Friday every morning. So yeah, I'm a huge Scooby Doo fan. Congrats to Escapology for getting the license to work, and doing this the right way. Because we know there's countless other escape rooms that would just
take the IP
roll
and
this
run.
out and roll the dice and say screw it, just to steal the IP and see what they would make off of it. So I applaud them for going about it the right way. It's coming to New Jersey soon, so I will definitely check it out when it's in New Jersey. I'm not a huge fan of the size of Escapology games. For me, they're a little too tight. But for Scooby-Doo, I'll check it out.
I'm going to safely just do a camera shift this time. Every time I thought he was done, he kept going. But that's really cool, though. I'm glad they're coming to New Jersey. Now I actually have a chance to play one of these games as well. Scooby-Doo is also really a cool, a generational link between, say, older people and younger people. Not that you're a whole lot older than I am, but I kind of had that same routine. Every morning, Monday through Friday before school, I would watch the version of Scooby-Doo that played for me, as well as, Courage the Cowardly Dog and Ed, Edd n Eddy. That was the one that had, Simple Plan singing the theme song. It was the What's New Scooby-Doo series.
Yeah.
And I watched that.
I'm not exactly in shock that this was the first IP that they would allow to roll out to escape rooms.
It's a no-brainer.
No, actually, it's I have a heart-warming spot for Scooby-Doo. Evidently, you do too.
Love it.
But we're in a minority.
Are we really?
Yeah. They can't get another movie off the ground. Anytime they do, it's direct-to-video. Not since the 2 live-action films, which the first one had a big opening, and then the second one kind of...
I heard there was actually 3 of them.
Not with the original cast, though, of the first.
That's right.
They recast it, and that became direct-to-video.
That's true. You're right. See, as I'm a 90s piece of trash, so I love the first Scooby-Doo live-action movie. It was terrible. It was god-awful. It was it was hot
but
garbage.
the cast was phenomenal.
I loved it so much.
Shaggy
being played by, I can't remember the actor's name, but he was
Matthew Lillard.
Yeah, he was also in SLC Punk, one of my favorite movies.
Matthew Lillard is such a talented actor and incredibly underrated. He's
got
the husband
such range
on the show Good Girls. I love him on that. He's just everything he's in. I always thought he was great in. Very underrated guy. The problem he has is that I'm going to sound like such a jackass saying this, but he's a hideous man. And that's, I think, a big reason why he does not get a lot of work, because he doesn't have leading man chops. He doesn't have that look. He always looks like he's going to be the scummy dude. And even on Good Girls, he plays a car salesman who is consistently cheating on his wife. And he's a total punk ass.
Yeah.
So, it's like that's the roles he gets because that's unfortunately his look. So.
That's totally understandable in Hollywood. I mean, for your role, your look is everything, and makeup and movie magic can only take you so far. I mean, his scummy look is part of what made him so great in, like, SLC Punk, if you've ever seen that.
I'm watching The Irishman at home, and I've seen 3 generations of Robert De Niro visually in the same movie. You're not going to tell me, that you could fix a lot nowadays.
You can't fix a lot with that, though. There's, I think Botox only goes so far.
It's not even the Botox. De Niro's face is digitally recreated for 2 different decades of De Niro. He plays older than him, which is prosthetics.
Yep.
He plays his current age, and then he plays like 30 years younger. And they did the same with Pesci.
I still have to see The Irishman. The 3 hours thing intimidates me.
Or even, Marvel movies have been doing it for a long time, especially with Robert Downey Jr. They keep
That's true, yeah.
de-aging him. But then you've got... actually, I would have to look this up, but I think the actor from Haunting of Hill House who plays Jack Nicholson's character in The Shining in Dr. Sleep, I think he was digitally changed up a little bit so that he'd visually mirror Nicholson a little bit.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, he looks a lot like Nicholson, and he added some of Jack's nuances to the voice to play the role. So, it sells. It's not like dead on, that's Jack Nicholson, but it's Jack Nicholson.
It's insane how far movie magic has come these days to get just little details.
There's a specific way he plays the part where it's like, he'll be like, instead of like, let me pour, like that actor has a very particular vocal pattern. So instead of like, let me pour you a drink, it's like, well, let me pour you a drink.
Yeah, no, exactly. I get that. But with that, we're actually going to go ahead and roll into our next topic. If you're in Orlando and can give us any insight on what we get to look forward to with the Haunted Mansion. By the way, you know the castle in the background? It's a haunted castle. You know the castle in the background of the intro?
Yeah.
That's the game.
Yeah, the bats fly by it. Yeah.
That's the game, and that's what excites me about it. But we're going to go ahead and move on to something.
But we're not going to see the castle. We're going to be in the game. And
you're going to be in the castle. It's going to
be like one castle room. And
maybe Escapeology went big on it since they signed with Warner Brothers, because I imagine there's also a budget.
I'd imagine that they floated their own budget, and that they have to give royalties of every ticket sale to WB.
Yes,
and I'd imagine that it's probably going to be a higher stake of ticket sale than what Escapeology keeps.
It's probably going to be like a higher price ticket too, as opposed to all their other games.
Maybe, but I don't know. I would say that from what I've seen of dealing with major studios for IP, that they're using this as an advertisement to get people in, and they make their money off of booking them into other games they sell.
Oh, I see. So this is just like a big publicity stunt, just with Warner Brothers' face in the background.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Give us some insight as we roll into the next topic, Octopus Escape. If escape rooms ever picked an animal mascot, the obvious choice is the octopus. These genius creatures are famously known for their 8 legs, their ability to camouflage, and most notably, their ability to escape. The cephalopod first got its escape notoriety when Inky, an octopus from New Zealand, escaped its enclosure through a small gap at the top of his tank and slid down a 164-foot-long drain pipe back into the ocean. And then once again on Finding Dory when they helped each other escape. Octolab TV recently decided to showcase the big brains on these cephalopods by setting up 4 escape scenarios that the octopus would have to escape from. The video is about 10 minutes, and there's probably copyright stuff, so I can't show you guys here, but if you head over to Octolab TV's YouTube channel, you can watch this. You would get a massive kick out of this.
Well, we'll watch it.
After this? Yeah, we're going to watch it after this. Basically, it's this cage. They set up 4 different escape scenarios in this cage. They get progressively harder as it goes on. One is just going through a door, the other one's just crossing a bridge. And it's insane to me how, well these guys can escape. Also, I love octopi, so if any escape talked about octopuses, octopi.
They're aliens.
They're not aliens. They're not aliens. I saw that post. They're not aliens. They're mollusks.
There is no DNA connection to any other life form on the planet.
They're mollusks, dude. I actually have it right here. Who's ready for some fun? Oh, that was way loud. I'm sorry about that, guys. Who's ready for some fun octopus facts? God, why are octopi so smart? Well, it's theorized that about 530 million years ago, an ancient group of mollusks slowly modified their protective shells into a buoyancy aids by filling them with gas. Right? This sounds very sciencey so far. I have no clue what it means, but it sounds smart.
I hope so, because the audience is just looking at your hat.
Oh God, I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm terrible. But where to start? So they fill their shells with gas, making them buoyant. With this transformation, they could easily walk along the ocean floor and swim over it. They were the first cephalopods for eons, and then they and their descendants kept their shells. But about 275 million years ago, everything changed. It's possible that competition from
extraterrestrial.
Don't do this to me. It's possible that competition from fast, shallow water fish forced cephalopods to become more agile or drove them into deeper waters where buoyant shells would have been a hindrance. For these reasons, or perhaps others, the ancestors of octopi lost their shells entirely, while their ancestors of squid and cuttlefish internalized theirs.
And let him go, lead him into the light.
To summarize all the smart words that I just said that I'm not too sure what they mean either. Basically, octopi used to have shells. They used to use them to float, but they ended up in an area where floating would actually, not be good. So they ditched the shell entirely. And because they were naked and as vulnerable as they are, they had to get creative. Scientists theorize this is why octopi brain work at such a high efficiency. Because it's not like any other animal that has a high brain power efficiency like a mammal. Yeah. This is my topic to talk. Usually Tone takes the spotlight. I'm going to take the spotlight here. This is me. No, but it's because octopi aren't anywhere near similar to say other animals that have big brains like monkeys, dolphins, whatever have you. They're not mammals. They also have a short lifespan. I think the octopus live for 2 or 3 years and then they're good.
They are so delicious, though.
You've eaten octopus?
Oh my God, yeah. Octopus sashimi, grilled octopus. Oh my God, yeah, I'll have octopus 7 ways from Sunday. I love octopus. Why are you looking like that? Don't knock it till you tried it, bitch. Octopus is amazing.
No. Have you seen the leg on an octopus?
Yes, it's the most delicious part.
Get the fuck... Are you serious?
Yeah.
What do you, cook it in?
Well, for octopus sashimi, nothing.
Spoiler alert for the friends back home. While I have a very limited palate, I do not eat... Because I have a limited palate, I don't eat seafood. I really don't enjoy much seafood, but they have seafood. Suction cups on their legs, Tone. Yep. How does that not get caught in your throat?
Not even slightly. It is so delicious.
For my octopi enthusiasts at home who are not going to devour...
If you've had octopus and loved it, comment below. Comment below and let Mike know.
Didn't you just say that you believe octopi are aliens?
Yeah.
So you're just going to eat aliens like it's no problem?
Yeah. How the hell do you think we're supposed to create ourselves as the dominant species of the universe?
This is it.
We have to kill everything else. We are capitalists among the solar system.
Capitalists among the solar system. When life comes here that is far more advanced than us, we're going to
go to space, and we're going to eat the octopus before they eat us. Okay?
Listen, not to get too political, but your hands were way too big.
Donald, we're not going to eat the octopus because the octopus are our friend, and they live in the sea, and we're going to make sure they stay alive for generations to come.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Absolutely wow. I'm going to applaud you. Hold on, let me put my glasses back on. I'm going to applaud you for the worst Obama impression I've ever heard. That was terrible. Applaud in the comments for the terrible Obama.
Michael?
Alright, so I'm done ranting about octopus for now. Again, if you haven't checked it out, we're going to watch it afterwards, but go to Octolabs TV's YouTube channel so that you can check out...
Octolabs.
You can see Octopus, the true escape room mascot escape.
If you want to see some puss, head over.
And with that, we're going to roll into the next topic. Boogie Man versus Pennywise. No, the Boogeyman is not going to fight Pennywise. That is an epic fight that we're going to have to save for another day. Look at that. Tone's ready to go.
Oh, Boogeyman will take him out.
I don't know, man. I've been reading a lot about Pennywise in the Macroverse. I think Pennywise can give the Boogeyman a run for his money.
Did he just say the Macroverse?
That's what it's called. That's what it's called on the wiki.
Wiki.
So last week, we announced the end of Boogeyman, which is still yet to be announced. The specific end date.
It's coming.
But it is coming to make way for Rebels of Rome. To celebrate the life of Boogeyman that it had. And don't worry, it'll come back. But it's going away for now. So to celebrate its run, we're going to take a look at probably one of the bad guys who I assume, either A, helped influence the Boogeyman, or B, it's just really weird how many parallels there are.
Well, you know what is kind of amusing?
Tell me, what's amusing?
Boogeyman is really one of the last pieces of content that Frank had a big hand in creating the story and elements for, and I don't believe he had seen it in any incarnation, the original miniseries or the new movie. And a matter of fact, when Boogeyman was like 3/4 built, some of the team were even saying like, "Oh, this has a lot of parallels to Stranger Things," and it was because of the whole dimensional situation. And none of us, myself nor Frank, neither of us had seen Stranger Things yet.
And then you got obsessed.
Well, no, actually, the first couple episodes of Stranger Things season 1 I did not like.
Well, that's most shows. They're slow to pick up.
But we dropped it, and then months later tried it again and watched it through, and wound up loving it by the end. Now we're Stranger Things, addicts, but at that time we were not into it. And so all I'm getting at is that there was not really as much influence as one would think going into it. So a lot of these parallels wound up being, I guess you could say, coincidental parallels. We did a lot of research on, like children abducting entities and demons through, and stories throughout time, which I guess is where you drew a lot of the parallels. Mike doesn't know how to use a volume button.
I just turned down the volume, actually.
So we'll hold that thought.
Got it.
So,
hey!
Can you see the disdain on my face?
Usually it's you.
So the parallels really came from researching different like demons through mythology and things like that, which I would assume is kind of how most of these characters get created. So the parallels wound up being very coincidental. Now, I had seen the original miniseries as a teenager, but that was so long out of my head. And then I recently saw It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2, and you can't deny that there is a ton of connective tissue. So
we can either, if you want, you can either tell the story of the Boogeyman, or I could just start with the parallels right away. Let's go ahead and start with the parallels. First one, most obvious one, is that they are both shapeshifters. It never truly showing its true form. I think in It Chapter 2, you got a brief look at the deadlights.
Mm-hmm. I think you see them in 1.
Was that 1, the deadlight? It was
Both.
1. I haven't actually seen It Chapter 2 yet. I'm going to be watching this later tonight when I get home. Because of how much work I put into this now, I'm like super interested in watching it. But yeah, in It Chapter 1 for sure, you get kind of a look at the deadlights, which is its true form. And the same thing with the Boogeyman. The Boogeyman also is a shapeshifter, taking a variety of different forms to scare and instill fear in the children that he haunts. What stuff does the Boogeyman like to transform into? Because I know Pennywise has got the clown, he's got the spider, he's got the deadlights, he's got...
Well, I would say that some of your difference makers directly connect into this. So Pennywise, for the most part, transforms into whatever he wants to transform into.
Mm-hmm.
There's not really necessarily a major rhyme or reason to it. Boogeyman specifically appears as whatever you fear. So, for example, like we have a young lad by the name of Jack, who is probably our most famous kid in the Boogeyman story.
Mm-hmm.
He has an abusive alcoholic father, so the Boogeyman appears as his father.
Ah, yes,
Whereas,
that one scene in the room, yeah.
You know, another child is terrified of clowns, so the Boogeyman appears as a clown. Another kid, who's a younger child, is really afraid of like fairy tale lore, and he's terrified of the big bad wolf. So the Boogeyman appears as the big bad wolf. So the Boogeyman is completely dependent and almost a, I wouldn't say this is a weakness, but he is stuck appearing as whatever said child is most afraid of.
Whereas Pennywise actually, I read that he turns into the clown to lure children in, to make them, you know, they see the clown and they're just kind of like, oh, hey, I can go check out the clown or whatever else.
I always kind of looked at it as, okay, so for us, oddly enough, the number one inspiration for the Boogeyman was actually an episode of the old Ghostbusters cartoon called A Boogeyman Cometh.
Ah, okay, yeah, I've heard of this cartoon.
In it, these kids are being attacked by the Boogeyman from their closets. They call the Ghostbusters, and the Ghostbusters take the case pro bono because Egon had a history of being haunted by the Boogeyman as a child. And the Boogeyman grows more powerful by the fear of the children that he haunts. So the Ghostbusters plant Ray in the bed as a kid to get the Boogeyman to come out. And when he comes out, they're ready with the proton packs, and they chase him into the closet, and it's a dimensional portal to his realm, which leads to the closets of other children's bedrooms. So you can totally see where, you know, we pulled Boogeyman from when that story is proposed.
Which is actually the next similarity that I have between the two of them was dimensional travel.
Yeah.
That they're both very versed in. I believe it under the Dairy House has like a portal to a part of his dimension.
But the way it worked in Ghostbusters was way cooler. Because it's like this, you know, dimensional void where all these tunnels and slides, and there's just closets all over the place, and you know any of those doors will lead to another kid's room. Very similar to Monsters Inc. But instead of it being like a factory, it's like this, you know, upside down Stranger Things dimensional void realm.
It's very uncomfortable to sit in.
So, well, he has a throne.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
But in my head, and we never had a way to truly, you know, showcase this, but like if we were to ever make a Boogeyman movie, I know exactly how you defeat him. Because in this, it's kind of like you have to, another connection to it, you have to find the children's totems that represent their strength, bring it to the Boogeyman's realm, and use it to void him of power and release the children.
Much in the way that in It Chapter 2 and the original miniseries that the children had to perform the ritual of Chud to get rid of it. Or
right.
At least defeat him.
Well, I always had this kind of element of, and this is where Pennywise has a strength, but Boogeyman, it's conceived as a strength, but ultimately it can be exploited as a weakness. Pennywise can transform into whatever he wants when he wants. The Boogeyman has to be whatever form is the most, you know, feared form. So, you can use a kid with a really goofy fear as bait.
Actually, you know what? I was watching this documentary. I'm not even joking. I actually was watching this last night, this documentary, and this dude has a fear of buttons. He has a crippling fear of buttons.
Well, okay, but like, you know, if the Boogeyman becomes buttons, it can become a massive pile of buttons and just crush you in buttons. But
yes, that's one creative way to think about it, sure.
You know, there's always ways around stuff like that. But I always come back to, like, the end of the Ghostbusters movie. You know, clear your head, we only get one shot at this. You know, and Ray is, you know, I try to think, you know, the most, you know, it's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. You know, you know, whatever you can contrive your most, you know, greatest fear to be, if there's other people in the room who, you know, think that that's the goofiest fear ever, you know, it's a way to defeat the Boogeyman.
So they don't just shapeshift. They don't just turn into things. They can also create illusions. Both
Sure.
of them. Pennywise, whatever he calls himself. I've heard Bob Gray in some iterations, which is actually a shout out to a.
I warned
cannibal.
Mike not to go deep down the Pennywise rabbit
It's
hole.
such a
and he
deep
did.
hole. It's such a deep hole, and I'm still down there. I actually have the wiki pulled up on my other computer. I'm gonna go continue reading after this. I'm gonna end up watching the entirety of and reading all of the Dark Tower series after this. But they can create illusions. I know I've seen all of the iterations of Pennywise's illusions. I haven't seen many of the Boogeyman's illusions, except for the very first room you go into with the movie thing. The movie poster, the wolf.
The Huntsman.
The Huntsman, that's what it is.
Well, that's almost an instance of the Boogeyman's illusions working against him to a degree, because he's creating what this kid is most afraid of, which is the fairy tale of the big bad wolf.
But because of
he also created, the Huntsman who shoots down the big bad wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Although he's using it as a way to, add a false sense of security so that the kids run to the closet.
And from the closet, that's where he takes
and then he's
you.
got them. But, there's that angle. But the, it's, I don't know. That's a tough play.
The illusion thing?
Yeah.
It's just a thing that they can both do and is a slight parallel. Now we're going to get into some of the more basic...
Well, what I was going to, I guess, kind of, in it, I didn't want to turn this into like a slam a movie element, but...
We're getting it out of them.
Well, no, I mean, in It Chapter 1, they follow their own rules pretty well.
Yeah.
In It Chapter 2, they kind of throw the playbook out, and it doesn't make sense. So, like, in Chapter 1, he is almost like Freddy Krueger. He needs to build their fears up to gain enough power to cause them harm in a physical space.
Okay, yeah.
So, like, he creates these illusions, weather pattern changes, all this different stuff, but they're not real.
Right, no, none of that's real.
You get away, or, you overcome the fear, and all of a sudden, it's all gone. And every physical representation of it is gone. In the sequel, it's not really the case. He's able to kill people in, like, opening scene of the movie, where it should take him 3/4 of the movie to rebuild his strength. He should not be able to cause physical harm in the opening of the movie in It Chapter 2, but he does.
I'm a little confused on that one, because isn't it in It Chapter 2 he did get his rest, though? Isn't it 27 years after?
Rest has nothing to do with it. That's basically a hibernation time. That doesn't mean he comes back and is suddenly all-powerful.
Interesting, though, because that is another similarity that Pennywise and the Boogeyman...
Their rest time?
They both need a rest time, but while it needs 27 years, Boogeyman only needs 13.
Correct.
Which, is there a reason you went with 13 years? Or is that just, did it seem like a fun number?
Unlucky 13.
Unlucky 13.
But beyond that, it gives more parallel times. So, in one lifetime, the Boogeyman could come back, several times, whereas Pennywise can only come back twice, really, per average person's cycle.
Yes.
A lot of people might be dead by the third appearance.
He comes back for his final revenge, and they're just already gone. It's like, oh, they're already floating.
It's like if they make an It Chapter 3, which inevitably they will, because the It movies, Chapter 1 and 2, are massive box office successes.
They're going to have to go after the grandkids. Or, like, the children.
And they could probably cameo
the
original cast characters.
That's what I imagine would happen.
But they'd be elderly.
They would, yeah, because it's every 27 years, so they could be in there well into their 60s.
I'd say that those characters are in their 30s to late 30s in It Chapter 2. Don't quote me on that, but
it makes sense.
So.
It makes sense based off of where they are in age in the first movie, because
actually, they're teenagers in the first movie.
They're like young preteens. I think they're like 12, 13-ish.
All right, so let's go off that. So they're in their 40s.
Early 40s, yeah.
In It Chapter 2.
Yeah, I would say. So then in It
so
Chapter
they'll
3,
be in their 70s.
Yeah. Good luck getting away. Then death comes knocking at your door at that age, and you're just like, yeah, okay. especially during that time, because it was.
I kind of want to see like one of them, especially the guy from SNL. I forget his name, who played one of the adult kids.
Bill Hader?
Yeah. I kind of want to just see him sitting there, you know, like as a 75-year-old man, just like, you're back. You look like a fool.
There's so many. I have to show you a picture after this of like the kids from
Yeah,
the
like,
first movie.
why aren't you afraid of me? You know, he's like, you look like a clown.
I gotta show you a comic strip after this. It's a meme of like the kids making fun of Pennywise. But so aside from needing rest, there are also a couple of basic things that they have in common, which they both possess super strength and super speed. Superhuman strength and superhuman speed
Well, when
beyond
you can
comparison.
teleport, speed is almost irrelevant.
That's true. That's true. But you still can move fast for those instances that you cannot teleport. Unless because the boogeyman is dimensional portals. Does he need the portals to teleport or no?
I mean, I don't necessarily think that's explained in either character.
No, it's not. I don't know if he needs the portals.
General consensus when it comes to those rules is that there's usually either two trains of thought. Either A, your teleportation is based on your particles just disintegrating and then reintegrating.
Yes.
Or B, you're going into another dimension.
Yeah, like
and
opening
then
a door.
coming out
Yeah.
in your current, in your previous dimension in a previous space. So yeah, he would be going into his realm.
Okay, so like for those instances that made the boogeyman isn't by a closet or underneath a bed, or when it is not under the dairy house.
Yeah, I would say that for both of those characters, considering you've already established that they have their own dimensional realm, that they're probably using that as their teleportation.
That's what I assume. That when he appears in like the bathroom mirror and shit like that, I imagine he's just opening his door and poking his head through, like, "Oh, I'm gonna get this girl."
Yeah.
But and then we also have one more parallel that I have. The last one on the list that I have that I pulled off from their powers so far, and this one is probably my favorite one, is that they can both be invisible. They both have powers of invisibility, which means that Tone, the boogeyman, can be right behind you. Right now.
Neither one of them use it.
They both have it, though.
Yeah, but, I mean, we never say he does, we never say he doesn't. And with Pennywise, he doesn't use it.
It was mentioned in the wiki when he used it. It was probably more in the books of when
he doesn't use it in the movies.
But, yeah, I don't remember the instance. But that was the most interesting to me because I couldn't, like, get the picture in my head of either of them actually being invisible, but it was more or less like, they can both be invisible. Okay.
Yeah, if you could be invisible, then nobody would stand a chance.
That's true. Imagine you just hear a whole bunch of grunting because of the invisible Pennywise and invisible boogeyman are just decking it out, where you and I are sitting here just looking behind us like, what the hell is going on?
Oh, they're battling right now behind us. Boogeyman won.
Oh, Boogeyman won?
Yeah.
Sorry, Stephen King. Sponsor us, by the way.
No. Don't.
But those are the parallels that I managed to draw from the Boogeyman and Pennywise.
I don't want to pay royalties. It's not about the content. It's I don't want to pay the royalties.
Our bills are too high already. No, probably not.
If you're willing to let us do a take on one of your story arcs, then by all means give us a call, but no royalties.
So that concludes the Monday show. Puzzle Talk. I have been Mike. That's been Tone. We're going to be here next week at 1 p.m. If you liked what you watched today, be sure to hit the like button. Leave us a react if you're on Facebook. Give us a follow. Subscribe on YouTube. Make sure to hit the bell. That way you know when we're posting a video or when we're going live. We got a whole bunch of great content coming to you. Tone, you want to say anything before we take off?
Do I?
Do you? I'm gonna
No,
go.
not really. I'm good.
Well, then you
It was
got...
great spending time with you today, folks. Thanks for
Always
letting us
lovely.
in your phone.
Bye. Have a wonderful time.